Art wasn't always my path, or at least not this type of art. In fact, if you have told me that 3 years ago I will be running my own business doing handmade anything, I probably wouldn't have believed you. But life has a way of leading us to unexpected places, and the most unplanned turns bring us exactly where we need to be. Hi, for those who don't know me, my name is Dannelys, and I'm an artist and a small business owner. And for the past few years, I've been creating handmade jewelry and accessories. First through my macrame business Among Strings, and now opening a brand new one. Today, I will be sharing my journey, how moving from Puerto Rico to the United States during a pandemic led me to discover my passion, how I built my first business from scratch, and why I recently made the decision to close it and start a new one. Looking back, it's wild how different lives can look in a few years. Like in December 2019, I was packing my whole life in Puerto Rico, saying goodbye to friends and family and pretty much anything familiar. My husband's military orders had us moving to the States, and honestly, I didn't have a clue what I was getting myself into. The first few months were like a mix of excitement and complete overwhelm. House hunting in a new space, trying to make this new apartment into a home from scratch, and doing my best to help my daughter adjust to this massive change. I remember standing in my living room thinking, okay, what now? Well, what now turned into a global pandemic. March 2020 hit, and suddenly those plans of job hunting and exploring this new place that now we call home got completely derailed. Our apartment became our whole world, literally. There's only so many times that you can reorganize your closet before you start losing it, right? I needed something. One night, probably around 2 a.m., when I couldn't sleep, I fell into one of those YouTube rabbit holes. You know, those videos where you start watching cooking lessons and then ends up learning about deep sea creatures. But this time, I landed on a video teaching how to make alpha patterns friendship bracelet. Now, you may be wondering, what the heck are alpha pattern bracelets? They're basically pixelated images turned into a bracelet in which every pixel is a knot. Sounds really hard, but it's just basically this. My first attempt wasn't that bad. What was actually surprising was that something in the process just clicked with me. The idea that I could create images just by knotting strings was like solving a puzzle and making art at the same time. I started spending hours watching tutorials, learning different knot patterns. My hands will be so sore, threads will be everywhere, and the horror of having to undo everything because of just one wrong knot. However, every mistake taught me something new. I remember the first time I successfully completed a complex pattern. It was actually an image of Grogu from the Mandalorians I did for my husband as a gift for Father's Day. As I kept searching and learning more and more, one day in another YouTube rabbit hole, I discovered the technique of micro macrame, which was basically the same as alpha patterns but with macrame knots, which are different. I was able to make 3D designs like this, and it was like finding a whole new language. The level of details and possibilities, I was hooked. I would stay up late at night just learning new patterns and new techniques. Now, the business part, well, that happened almost by accident. It started with my husband's gift for Father's Day, the Grogu from Mandalorians, the keychain. My husband attached it to his work backpack, and one of his coworkers liked it so much that asked him to ask me if I could make one for him, which of course I did. Then another coworker asked, then the spouses, and so on and so forth. Before I knew it, I was taking custom orders through Google Forms, and I was trying to figure out this scary monster of pricing. Even though I was selling pieces on the side, it wasn't until August of 2023 that I made it official and Among Strings came to life. I remember sitting in my vanity because I didn't have a desk at that time, and my heart was racing as I hit publish on my Etsy shop. that first sale to a complete stranger, I must have triple checked that shipping label before buying it just to make sure that everything was okay. The business grew in ways that I never expected. I started getting orders from different states that I never been before. There was this one customer that ordered a piece from my shop to wear on her wedding reception. Imagine that, something I made in a corner of my house, traveling across the country for someone's special day. Everything was great. I was starting to get a few orders a month, and apparently, due to the big amount of amazing reviews, people were starting to like my pieces. I was getting reviews almost on every order, which is the best thing that can happen to a business, especially one just starting. I was becoming more and more experienced in specifically 3D designs that I started making my own pattern. And even creators from the same niche were starting to get inspired by my creativity. Now, the thing about creativity is sometimes it can be mean. The more ideas I start getting to accomplish, the more they started to grow bigger and bigger. I started to have these big ideas or designs that I could see so clearly in my mind, but just couldn't execute them, at least with the strings. It was really frustrating. And not only that, but it was also really time consuming. Like one of my designs, the hibiscus flowers, took me almost 2 hours and a half to make just one pair of earrings, which when you're making more than 5 a week, it can be draining. And I was starting to feel really burnt out to the point that I was unmotivated to work, and that's not good. So I started to experimenting on different mediums, pressing, embroidery, beading, wire wrapping, you name it. I tried so many things, but nothing seems to stick with me until I tried polymer clay. I remember my first attempt. It was terrible. It was supposed to be this cute bunny with a pink scarf, but it turned out to be the bunny version of Chucky. But something about it felt so different in a good way. Every mistake felt like an invitation to try something new rather than a limitation. And don't worry, I've hugely improved since that diabolical bunny. With polymer clay, everything feels possible. If a color is not quite right, you can mix it with other colors until it's like the one that you've been looking for. If a piece or a design doesn't turn out well, you can just mush it and start again. If you have scraps, you can even mix them and create new colors or even create new designs completely. It was like finally finding the right instrument to play the song that was in my mind for so long. However, making the decision to close Among Strings wasn't easy. Each piece I made represented a part of my journey and a part of me, but sometimes you need to let things go in order to have space for growth. So I gave myself 3 months for the transition. From January through March, I started a closing sale in January for Among Strings, which was emotional but also exciting. Every sale felt like saying goodbye to an old friend, but also making room for something new. Which brings me to the part where I present to you my new business, Colorful Dose. Colorful Dose was created and inspired by the feeling of empowerment and being bold, being yourself, and being proud of it. And that's exactly what I want people to feel when they wear my jewelry. It's like a dose of confidence compacted in a colorful piece, a colorful dose. That's what this brand is about, not just accessories, but fun pieces that remind you to be you. Now, sitting here looking back, I can clearly see how each step led to this. Among Strings was born in a time of uncertainty when I was trying to find my footing on a new place, and I am so blessed for all that it taught me about myself. But Colorful Dose is me stepping into who I am as a person and who I becoming as an artist. And in this channel, I will be documenting everything, the good days, the bad days, the why isn't this working days, because being a solo entrepreneur is not just about the product, it's about the entire journey and all the highs and lows and the lessons learned along the way. So if you're interested in the behind the scenes of me creating a creative business a second time and learning about polymer clay alongside me, or just watching me figure things out as I go, subscribe subscribe to this channel. I will upload videos every Thursday. And also let me know in the comments if you come from Among Strings or if you just happen to stumble into this video. I just want to know. You can find Colorful Doughs on Instagram and TikTok, where I will be sharing everything about the big opening. I will leave everything in the description. Thanks for spending time with me today, and I will see you on my next video. Bye!